Welcome to meeting number 2, and congratulations to the winners of the event. That was our blackout event. We're going to have those in the future in order to shake up the economy and kind of shake up just the progression in general. So hopefully that was a pretty fun event for you all. So this last week was our soft opening. This was to get a feel for where we were at in the economy and where we were at in needing to fix certain things. Basically a live testing. And this now will mark our official opening, our grand opening. So I appreciate everybody that has put in the time to report everything and to kind of keep us on our toes to get things going. As you could see, there was a lot of things that we needed to take care of. And with your guys' help, we were able to expedite that fairly quickly. So we absolutely appreciate that. That doesn't mean everything is absolutely tip-top shape. We're still going to be doing a lot of fixes continuously, but we are in a spot now to where everything is looking pretty good. We will continue to ask that you guys put in reports for anything that you see. To expand on that, if you do a slash report, that's only going to be seen if there are gods in the city at the time. Otherwise, if it's something a little bit more serious, please go to Discord and fill out an actual ticket. And that way we can see it and it sticks. Because if there's no one in the city to actually answer your slash reports, then it might go unnoticed. Lucky for y'all, we're usually always in the city, so that's good. A couple things we want to go over is just in general, we are doing what we can to make sure that going forward, your experience in the city is going to be fresh and not stale over time. That's a big push that we're doing for the city. This event just now is kind of a taste for how that's going to work. And that doesn't just include shuffling things and making things, completely different. It'll be adding more things, maybe even subtracting things, whether that's heist or recipes or whatever it may be. We do have a plan that we're going to be sticking to in terms of what we're going to kind of trickle into the economy or even things to do. And we hope to keep it fresh in that regard. So that's kind of our big push in keeping you guys entertained, including other events that we have kind of been throwing around amongst ourselves that we will be throwing. We definitely hope to see that other people in the city will be doing their own events as well, coinciding with ours. That way everything, stays nice and fresh. So another thing that we want to talk about that is extremely important to us is RP. Everyone knew that this conversation was going to happen. I want to touch on a few things. We, as the developers and staff, have been paying attention to kind of everyone's RP level to kind of see where everyone's at. And I will start out with saying this. I know the majority of you. I've had interactions with the majority of you, either whether it was in this city or in another city. And I know that the majority of all of us are not necessarily experienced RPers. Okay. And that where we all came from was our first run and our first introduction to RP. And so we have all been learning and we get to learn again, right? And it's tough. We've had a lot of internal conversations about this because some of the most fun scenarios that I've been in has actually been in this city. And my RP experience from another place was a pretty long time. So to say that some of the most hilarious and the most fun scenarios and RP situations that I've been in has been into a city that I've been in for about a week now says a lot. Some of the RP level that some of you guys are bringing is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm hoping that you guys all can clip that kind of stuff and put that into the Discord. That way you can share it. Because what we're hoping is that for the people that are out there that are strong RPers, and let's just face it, there's just people that are going to blow other people out of the water because of just, it's a damn talent. Let's be real. Not all of us can be improv that way. And it's we're hoping that when you see these kind of interactions, that you then kind of realize where we want this city to go. I'll give an example that we all saw as staff that was phenomenal, and that was we're gonna shout out Boo and Witty. It was an interaction with Sid and the police, and I believe that was Officer Drake, where he was doing uh, a truck heist, armored truck, and he had no hostage. He had nothing but himself. He was trying it for the first time, and he gets up there, and the police show up, and he thinks on his feet, and he says, "I have a bomb! I have a bomb! I have a bomb, and I'll blow you all up!" And the officers responded brilliantly and played along with it, and they went, "Oh my god, he has a bomb! He has a bomb!" And they all took cover, and it was fucking phenomenal, and it was gold. I believe that clip is somewhere in the Discord. Someone could probably even post it here. You can watch it for later. And you know what? There's a couple things about that. Um, yes, it didn't go exactly the way that the Crim wanted it to go, and it didn't go the way that the cops were expecting it to go, but yet there was an RP situation there that was created that made it absolutely comedy gold and great. There was even one with Boris, also during a truck robbery, that was phenomenal, and it was hilarious. And we're hoping to see more of that. We're hoping to, we're holding everybody to a higher standard at this point. We've been focusing on PD at first, in order to get them to issue a lot of cool RP scenarios, and then we're hoping that that was a trickle down effect. But now we have to start holding all the crims and the non crims uh, accountable for their RP, because if you're here to just grind out money and blah blah, and your RP interactions are just dog shit, you need to start thinking a little bit harder about how you're going to create a good RP scenario. And that goes for cops, that goes for EMS, that goes for bennies, that goes for crims, all of the above. Let me give an example. If you're a criminal who takes a hostage into a hostage situation, it is your duty to make sure that that hostage has a fucking phenomenal time. It's your job at that point. Not, I'm going to grab a hostage and I can care less what happens with this hostage. I just need this hostage because I want this money and I'm going to get away from the cut, blah, 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 right? It is your job to make sure that that hostage has a good time at that point. And if you start thinking of it like that, then the RP scenarios all around are going to be phenomenal. And we're going to be promoting that. And there's some things that we have in the works that will reward people for good RP. And I won't tell you what that is, but we will know who has the good RP and who doesn't, and who's creating these scenarios that are going to make this a better place for everybody. So I hopefully that makes sense. I want everyone to try their hardest to start focusing on that and start really pushing that aspect. Because let me tell you, I got out of my car after running from the cops on my crim, and I had two separate officers chasing me down with nightsticks, beating the shit out of me and saying the funniest stuff, and those nightsticks don't do a whole lot of damage. I could have easily just turned and shot them in the face, but it was so hilarious that I couldn't even think straight, and that's what I want to see. At that point, it's not about winning, it's not about losing, it's not about anything. It's just absolutely comedy gold, and I'd rather have that over anything else. And that's been a lot of internal talks that we've had within staff. I'll expand on kind of our staff diversity that we have. We have crims, we have PD, we have EMS, and we have people that have been all of those. And so a lot of our internal discussions aren't always one sided. In fact, often they're not. In fact, we get into a lot of different back and forth often. And we have amongst ourselves have stated that oh yeah, we have strippers too. Sorry. Um, we have decided that that is probably the best approach for this city to be successful, is that we have people that have their own opinion based on what they're involved in, and then we all come together and we literally argue about it, like literally argue about it, sometimes for a very long period of time, because what that does is we then can see the points from all sides. And that's something that I think we didn't most of us didn't have elsewhere. And we make the decisions based on that aspect. So um, the staff team, I will step aside as if I'm not staff, and I will say that I'm impressed with a lot of the staff team. Lance, Austin, Q Ball, Dal, Gene, everybody has been, Garrick has been absolutely phenomenal with providing feedback and helping out where they can with what they can do. It's been insane. And that's how we're going to have a functional city. And that's how we're going to have a functional city moving on. It does as well require you guys to make sure that you're reporting bugs, right? You see something that obviously is going to put you in the into a gaining position, and you know that you probably shouldn't be in that position. Report it, please, because that's how we're not. Anything that seems messed up, please report it, because the if we can get bugs and exploits and things handled quickly, it doesn't ruin our economy. We're very uh, we're very reliant on the economy working the way that we have it planned in order to make sure that it doesn't become stale too quickly. If you have everything too quick, this city will become stale just like any other, right? So, with that said, I think you guys have been doing a good job with the reports and the ticketing, and we appreciate that, and that is awesome. Um, what else I want to talk about besides RP and the direction of the city? Um, oh, go ahead. Someone's about to say something.
Like, so in a lot of things with a lot of the bugs and stuff that come in, like for hunting, for instance, um, you know, sometimes things take a lot longer than others to fix. The revive issue, things like that. And even though people have reported it, it kind of reminds us when people put multiple in about it. So, I mean, I think I fixed the hunting today. Jake fixed the respawn issue today. So just, sometimes things take a little bit longer, and just be a little patient.
I will say this, a lot of that comes down to the fact that there's a lot of quirky stuff within the game engine. Like, it's a weird game engine. There's weird shit that happens, weird interactions and stuff, and it's just figuring out the workarounds.
Yep. Yeah, we've literally pulled our hair out for the dumbest stuff that you could ever think of.
Soft
The
cuffing.
smallest, dumbest thing is hard.
Soft cuffing, which should be a basic thing, right? You have a handcuff, but you can walk around. Ended up being the biggest clusterfuck you could possibly imagine. It required a complete rewrite of how all of that stuff worked.
Yep.
Just put it this way: Biggs has only quit 7 different times.
I mean,
I quit.
How long
He
did
threatened to go back to Tarkov?
I mean, even oh god, even stuff like we were trying to balance the drop rates for the dumpsters. I mean, that was something as simple as when do you get items when you look in a dumpster? Ended up being you had to be like a freaking math genius to figure it out.
Yep. Yep. That is for sure. And it took almost 3.5 hours just to figure that out, So, it is what it is. So, there's a lot of things, but I think the biggest thing for us is that don't ever assume that somebody has already reported it, because at that point, that's the psychology behind everyone at that point. You know what I mean? Someone's already reported that, surely, right? No, just report it. If you see it, report it. We're not going to care if we get 500 reports for the same thing. If we get 500 reports for the same thing, then we know something's really messed up. and then we can tackle it faster, right? But if everyone
Right.
assumes that everything's been reported, then no one reports it, and then it just goes unanswered because we're not as active as you are in the grind to see these things and to know that they're a problem. So definitely speak up, and don't worry, we're not going to get offended by it. And if you have to direct message me even because it's not getting done or something, then do it. That's what I'm here for. So just keep them coming. So far you've been doing a good job. I don't want you guys to kind of get lazy about it. Just report it.
Yeah, and then especially with different reports like RDM or any kind of rule breaking you see, put a ticket in, like put a report in game. It's crucial. It's crucial to do that stuff quickly so we can identify the ID of the person and either teleport to them or freeze them to then talk to them and figure out the situation. So I wouldn't go to Discord for that, just so for the ease of us to try and we don't want people running around doing things like that and ruining the roleplay experience for you guys. So the quicker we can handle those kind of situations, and I know they're going to come, the better it is for everybody.
Yeah, we should
Hey
go over
Dal,
Patreon.
I just
You
want to
wanna
point
do
out that I'm making Boo draw you on a Tron bike.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
You want to go over the Patreon for the new members?
Yeah, so the Patreon is there. There's 3 tiers. You have access to get special import vehicles at the Patreon shop. A lot of them are either they have a ton of customization or they're cool. Nothing in there is like you absolutely need that to successfully rob a bank, so don't think it's a pay-to-win situation. We do plan on adding another benefit for the Patreon. So let's say you're out in the middle of nowhere and you find like a cool shack and it's not purchasable. If you're a specific tier, then maybe we can make that house purchasable. And the money goes to help the server. I mean, we've already done how many server upgrades? 2? We've done 2 server upgrades.
Yeah.
And
2, yeah.
it's looking like we might need to do another one here soon. We have to pay monthly for 5M's Patreon, and we just upgraded to the next level up. And a lot of resources, a lot of custom scripts, a lot of the good ones cost money. And I mean, all of last month's Patreon is currently in the city right now.
Another one that I'm trying to work on right now that I would like to see us be able to get is a giant amount of custom clothing, hairstyles, and tattoos.
Yeah.
And that one, I mean, we're looking at like a minimum of $100 on that. So
Yes.
because
So
those guys charge a lot for their artwork for that stuff. So
Yep.
Rightfully so.
absolutely not shitting on them. Just that's
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we are as transparent as possible with where our funds are going, and we want to make sure that they all go into the city constantly.
I mean, yeah,
whether that-
even just today, it's the first, and we've already spent 50, 60, $92 on the server, and that doesn't even include the server cost monthly. So we've already even spent over $200 today alone just for the city, and there's more to come. So transparency is good to have for these things, and everyone who does support, we greatly appreciate it. I mean, we're able to do this because of that. Server costs are not cheap. Scripts aren't cheap. And it allows us to have fun.
Yep. What else do we need to cover?
Let's see. Maybe that quote that I said last night or this morning.
I actually really like it, but I can't remember it.
So we were
it
discussing.
was 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember.
I
what
do.
it
I
was.
remember it now. We were discussing roleplay, and this is something I think everyone should keep in mind: is if your roleplay situation with somebody restricts them from roleplaying or interacting or responding, then that's not a good roleplay scenario. So, for instance, if Lance is arresting me, and I'm just screaming at him, or I'm just like going the whole time, and he has no room to respond to that or to talk back. I have now limited his opportunity for roleplay, and that's not a good roleplay scenario, and that's not good RP. So,
Yeah,
and
here is get fucked, and I'm gonna send you to jail without talking to you.
yeah, so I mean, just think about that. Think about anytime you do anything in a roleplay scenario, you got to let the other person have a chance to respond or have an interaction, and just don't make it justify it being fell RP. So just keep that in mind. What else?
Yeah, I do agree. We do need to stop saying get fucked and stuff like that as the arrest reason. We need to put realistic arrest reasons.
Yes. And you guys might have encountered us on our gods. Maybe we might have been in the middle of testing something, or we might have just been fucking around. We are going to allow more. We're going to kind of take a step back. We're still going to be in the city, of course, but what I mean is like the shenanigans with the gods. We're taking a step back on that, so we're going to be more of unseen gods in a way, but unless there's a ticket. And some of the things that we are currently working on to fix, we want to make sure hunting is good. We want to make sure that the revive is fixed. We just implemented today, we're going to make sure it works, is if you park a vehicle, any vehicle anywhere, it should save the position to the database. So if you park and you go into your house or your motel, when you get out of your house or motel, your car should still be there. If you go and steal a local car and plant it for a getaway vehicle in a heist, your car should still be there. So we'll just make sure that works. Jake, what else have we been working on?
Most of it's just going to be optimization. The other stuff, anyways, is just going to be optimization, making sure that we don't have script conflicts and stuff, because that's been the biggest thing.
Right.
PDCAD, I don't know if you mentioned that. Sorry, I was reading, but PDCAD, we're swapping over to a new one because, quite frankly, Sonoran CAD is a giant pile of crap, and it actually was dropping like 20 plus FPS for people when it started running. So.
City whitelisted. Yeah, I mean, our original plan was to not, but then you guys have been awesome, and we appreciate all the streamers streaming and advertising for us, putting things in putting the word out and getting all these people here. So with the amount of members we have, and because our whitelist application process isn't some unnecessarily long thing to do, I think we'll be keeping it whitelisted. And then, all the growth that we've had is thanks to you guys and the word of mouth. So we are going to be adding more streamer stickers in game with some of the streamers that have been really grinding out and streaming Trono. So keep your eyes out for that. Similar to like Blue Witty sticker and things like that.
I would just like to point out that we have plans for not just rewarding streamers, by the way.
Correct.
If you are a crim, a non-crim, or even a cop or EMS or whatever the hell it is you're doing, maybe even a Benny's employee, if we see that there's someone that is a model citizen in Trono, then there will be some rewards in that regard as well.
And it'll never be anything that gives them a higher up in any situation. It's just kind of more of like a fun thing.
Right.
It's just to show our thank you.
Yeah, I just don't want to. Exactly, I don't want to get that confused.
Yeah.
Like streamer privilege.
Right.
But that's not the case. It's we have some stuff in the works.
Yep. And we plan on
Archie Pizza is actually a good example of that.
And another thing we can touch on is kind of our ideas for some things we want features in the future to maybe get you guys a little excited is, we do want to look into things to do in jail, maybe even a community service for lesser crimes. We are looking into like little mini events, kind of little like smaller things to do, similar to some of the other things that are in.
Yeah, I'm going to add some dumb stuff in jail as well. I say dumb stuff, but there's small stuff that you can do while you're there, so you're not just AFKing, because that's an issue. I've seen other cities do stuff like carry boxes back and forth between points, and that's not actually something to do. That's dumb. I want there to be something to do, but I also want it to be jail themed. People play a lot of cards, a lot of dice, a lot of stuff like that in jail. I want to have some stuff like that. And to be honest, I would have had it in by now, but we've been working through some things. So
Yeah, so
We just got the bare bones at the moment, so
Yep.
we'll
just keep
expand.
in mind, like, the gameplay loops and the activities that are here to do right now, like, we're not just calling it good and that's it. Like, we plan on adding more, maybe even sometimes taking some stuff out and replacing it with something else for a limited time, things like that. Keep things fresh, keep things fun, and just keep it interesting. And we're always keeping in mind if this is a group job, a group activity, or is this stuff people can do by themselves. Maybe your friends aren't on and you want to be by yourself and have fun. So that's something that we've been looking into and making sure that that's staying. Hearing from somebody about, I have so much fun even by myself, that's a good thing. But so things will continuously be changing and getting better, I hope.
Yep, and I will say that in all the channels that you guys have to your disposal for suggesting things, even if we do not respond to them, we do see them, and we see them, we know it's there, and it may or may not be on the list. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to continuously suggest things because maybe we don't think of something. So continue to do that. Don't be afraid to stop just because we don't respond to it.
All right, so I guess we can go over to some questions. We're only going to take a few. We want to get everyone back in the city. But if you guys have some questions, go ahead and throw them in the meeting chat, and we'll answer a couple, and you guys will be back in and have some fun. Look at that, several people are typing. All the secrets, yes, so they are all in Lance's office. The moving of everything, we haven't really set like a specific time, but the main reason we did this one was because a lot of the locations were there in testing. We want to make things more fair, so you'll know before it happens.
The Mount Zona Hospital MLO is massive. When I say massive, like, the people that have been having issues near Pillbox is like 1/5 of the size of the Mount Zona MLO, so it's not going to help anything.
Until we can have a test server, which we will have soon, to put MLOs in and see how they react with our other current MLOs, and server content will be kind of plug and play on there to see what'll work and what won't. But we are looking for always MLOs and different things like that to enhance your guys' experience.
I'm gonna snag 2 of these questions. Drake/Archie said, "Would you guys be open for more civ jobs like real estate, restaurants, etc.?" Yes. If we do plan to add some of that. We shied off on it because we didn't want to add too much and put too much on our plate. But as well, we need to make sure there's an economy that can support it, right? And if you do have a great idea, don't be afraid to approach us with it if that's something that you're extremely passionate about. And if it can be done and we think that it's going to be viable to the city, then absolutely 100% we'd look into doing it.
And there is a real estate job right now. We just haven't, opened it up to people yet. But there is one, and we do want to have restaurants. And cooking is one of the big ones we want to add soon. The whole cooking system, or a way to do that, people to have their own restaurants, things like that.
I got one here that I want to touch on. So the Shepard asking about the MLOs breaking people's eyes. We need to talk about this. This is actually a kind of a big one. When PD arrests you guys and they ask you, they soft cuff you in the garage to get you inside so that you can see. Because if they escort you in and you're hard cuffed, escorting someone into any MLO just completely screws you, and it's a 5M thing. There's nothing we can do about it. It happens in every city. So we have soft cuffing. We added soft cuffing where you can walk in yourself. Please be cooperative with them on that. I mean, I've been guilty of it. We screw around with them and stuff, but we all need to just cooperate with them. When they're walking you in, it's literally for you that they're doing that. They don't have to do that for themselves to be able to send you to jail. The idea is they soft cuff you, you walk in the MLO because you have to be able to walk yourself in to see. So they're doing that so they can continue the interaction, with the interrogation, with the mug shot, with, sending you to jail and stuff. We have to cooperate with them on that. And then when the officer says, hey, what pocket do you keep your ID in? That kind of a situation, show them your ID. Don't be a jerk about it. It's not because, they're trying to RP it out. It's because that's the way it's set up right now. That's the way we have to do it. So, realistically speaking, you would be cuffed. They'd just search you, take your ID out of your pocket. It's the same idea, just you have to show it to them. Now, we are going to be adding a pull ID function. That one's not as big of a deal. But the walking in while soft cuffed, please just cooperate with them. That's a big one. And it's, like I said, Biggs and I were talking about this last night. We've been guilty of it, just fucking around with them and stuff. But, we've had some people that have been like, they refuse to. And the only reason why they're doing it is for you, not for them. So. And
Yeah,
there's.
you want to talk about bullet casings up there too by Chris J?
I didn't even see
I'm
that one.
yeah, I'm
Oh, I was muted.
where
my
did it
bad.
even go?
So the bullet casings, that is something that obviously needs balancing. With how that's going to work, we did remove the cooldown. Crims can pick up the bullet casings immediately. You have a flashlight, use it. Yeah, that's just something that we're all gonna have to talk about and figure out, because rather than just scrapping it, we would like to be able to
Utilize it.
utilize it in a good way to add more RP and investigations and things like
straight
that.
up just issuing a warrant off of it is going to be a no-go off of just one bullet casing's worth of evidence. We would have to tie that together with other things, like possibly eyewitness statements and stuff. Give CID something to do other than major crimes.
Another thing to tack onto that is the CAD system. When you get arrested, it shows your affiliation anyway. So the bullet casing showing your org, don't worry about it. I mean, the cops aren't gonna make an arrest towards that org. Like Jake and I have had arguments over bullet casings already. We've already butted heads about it.
And
we're
not
trying
wrong on a lot of it.
We're trying to find a good middle ground that's balanced, because we want the police to be able to have something to do for their crimes as well, instead of just going to a scene going, oh, okay, well, it's done, let's go. But we also don't want the criminals to feel like every time that they shoot their gun, they're just gonna lose.
Yeah, so for instance, something kind of similar, and this is not how it might not end up being, but this is kind of like my idea is, if you're talking to people and they end up shooting at you, and you shoot back in self-defense, like, you shouldn't get a warrant for that. I think if bullet casings are found, at that point it turns into an investigation should happen, and people need to be talked to and try to figure out, okay, hey, I found your casing at this scene, what happened, and things like that. So that's just kind of a loose idea on how things should be or be changed, but we still got to discuss it.
Yeah, and as you can see with all these suggestions, balance in general is a very, very complex thing. Coding is one thing, and making the city work, mechanically is a nightmare in and of itself. But I think the biggest nightmare which is no surprise to any of us, is balancing. That's balancing the economy, balancing things like PD, EMS, all that stuff about how that should work, and the systems at play. There's a lot of moving parts, and it is a nightmare. But so far so good, but there might be some things that need to be looking at, and we are internalizing that those discussions. So if you feel that it is something that needs to be addressed, definitely voice your opinions. But as well, we're always having conversations about that internally. In terms of the rules, I saw a question up there earlier about certain information in the rules maybe being incorrect or whatever. Yeah, so during this phase, we had to make a lot of adjustments, but we didn't necessarily adjust the rules because we were really still kind of considering ourselves in testing in a way due to the soft opening. So we are scrambling now to make sure that the most important information is up on the rules in the PD handbook from this point on. So give us a little bit of time to get that together as we kind of work back through that. And that information will be available to you guys soon.
So just to touch on what Archie's talking about here, the custom script that they're using, it doesn't really do the standard gun thing, because like GTA guns don't have any sort of unique identifier to them whatsoever. And even if they did, as soon as you put it into another inventory and then put it back into your inventory, it's a completely different item. There is no actual unique identifier for items. What they've done is they have tied a serial number to a person, and no matter what, say, regular pistol that person is using, it's that serial number. So it's kind of
basically
a
ties it to your
convoluted solution.
ID.
Right,
Yeah,
which is
it doesn't.
literally the same thing as what we're doing. It's just not putting a name on it, it's putting a serial number.
Yeah.
So I want to say something. I've seen Salvador Loco post this question twice about seeing familiar faces from other cities and having memories be wiped. This comes down to individual player responsibility to know that coming into a new city, creating new characters, you really don't know any of the other characters that come into the city. This is an RP thing. This is something that is not easily taught. This is not a function that we can actually implement other than saying, please embrace your character and have new experiences with the people, even if you know these people. I have people in the city that I know in real life, and we RP out our situations because that's what RP is. So it's not something that we're going to be able to implement everybody's memories way, because it's just not the way that it works. We do want new interactions between everyone, even if you know each other. Have fun with that. That's part of the RP thing that Biggs was talking about in the very beginning. And when you do that, that will trickle down into the rest of the city, and everybody will basically just be acting. It's not an easy thing to ask for. It's not really something that can be implemented. It has to be learned through behaviors of other people around you. So carry that out within yourselves and know that you can create those new interactions on your own.
To answer about the house question, yes, we're looking into it. It's complicated. I'll just leave it at that. But it is something that we're going to be talking about internally, see if we can remedy that issue or change it or something. So I'll leave it at that.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, real quick, I'm going to throw out an idea here, looking at what Chief Keef is saying in chat here about untraceable weapons. Something that I had been thinking about and trying to figure out how we could do would be to have suppressors be a high-level illegal item, and when you suppress a weapon, it does not drop shell casings anymore. And that would be a way for crims to be able to do these things without it coming back with a warrant. We would do that on top of decreasing drop rate on shell casings to something very low, where if you shoot 10 rounds, you may or may not get a shell casing dropped. So we suppress them, they no longer drop shell casings, they don't do shots fired, and that eliminates that entire thing.
Yeah, so we're running a lot of things back and forth, but without getting too deep into specifics, I think the main goal that we wanted to make sure that we covered was the basics of RP and how we all now, most of us here, 50 some odd of us, this is our second chance to really get the RP right and to actually do something different than what we were all doing before. And I want you to keep that in mind. I mean, that goes for me as well. There's naturally going to be people that are better at doing this because they're good at improv, they're good at acting, whatever. It's hard, just like Q-Ball said, it's hard to teach that. You can't really teach that. You have to learn it. And we're really hoping that people start to learn by seeing other people just being phenomenal at it. So just start focusing on it as hard as you can. The more we've already seen it. We basically just reached out to everybody originally before we did our soft opening and said, hey, let's start focusing on this RP thing. And there are people out there that have just blown us away with the level of RP that they brought in. And it has just made for epic moments of just I mean, we're dying. We're sitting here dying watching it, like just dying laughing. It's crazy, and you know that's something special, and I hope everybody can try to embrace that. Because the more that you do that, the more you start focusing on that, all of a sudden, if you do end up losing in a scenario, you're not losing because it was fucking hilarious. It was fun. It was entertaining, you know? And then all of a sudden, the whole you getting butthurt because you couldn't catch a criminal, or you getting butthurt because you got caught, or because, I'm trying to think of a scenario for a non-crim, whatever, but, whatever it is, goes out the door because the situation in and of itself was absolutely a glorious moment of just pure RP. And we're hoping to see more of that.
So just so we don't keep everybody here too long, I'm going to shotgun through the questions that Gene compiled here real quick.
Sure.
Carlo asks why in the PD handbook the yacht says it can be done with no cops, however you need one. It just simply didn't get updated. The PD handbook didn't. The PD handbook was written before we made that change, and honestly, Biggs and Dow and I may not have told Lance that it was changed. I don't remember, but it'll get fixed. Asking if there's an ETA on gang uniforms like Lost, all that stuff, and then also your local shooting at you. The local shooting at you I'm working on. I don't have an answer for you yet. As far as the gang uniforms and all of that stuff, that comes down to what I was talking about earlier with a giant custom clothing pack, custom hair, and all that stuff. It all comes together into one. Functional cab system, we're looking at adding legal jobs like that. There's a bunch of stuff we're working on. Big changes to the city as far as a community vote goes. I don't know how far we're going to go with that. A lot of that comes down to, making sure that things are going the direction that, Dow specifically, and then, the rest of the staff are going on that. We will definitely talk through a lot of things with people. I don't know about community votes. That's something we'll have to talk about later. And then the economy through soft wipe, where people were progressing as expected. A couple of people did some things that I think none of us expected to be as big. Like, quite frankly, we knew dumpster diving was neat. I did not expect to spectate like half of the city and see people dumpster diving. I didn't expect someone to make ass load of money off of Pokemon cards.
Yep.
Yeah, that just that came out of left field. But hey, you know what? Overall, if there was a big issue, we'd be doing an economy wipe right now, and we aren't. So,
Correct.
Someone answer gang perk real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.
So,
Gang perks I've been working on these with the other staff. They're coming very soon. They will make sense. We just need to do a couple of double checks on balancing, and we will make sure that that gets put into place soon. It's like right there. I have all the information. We just have to cross-check it.
Perfect. Well, all right. Without further ado, let's get going. Let's get back up and running.
servers up.
thank you guys.
Thank you to
Thank you all.
everybody. Enjoy. See you next time.